Thank you so much for staying with us, everyone. Let's continue with the program. Let's give you some sound bites from the meeting of the APC NWC, the National Working Committee of the party, with the Senate caucus today. And this is some of the reactions coming from it today. Take a listen.
We've had a meeting that was open, that was sometimes very brutally frank. And I think we have benefited from that experience. Two things. I want to take the opportunity to pay tribute to the National Assembly for the degree of cooperation that they have been extending to the executive, in spite of seeming differences under the surface. Secondly, I want to say that we have now completed our consultations with the National Assembly, and we are going to move forward from now. One appeal I have to make, that it is necessary for all, underlined, all levels of governance, of government, to maintain some level of respect and civility one to the other. And my appeal is, as we start now the process of reconstructing relationships and consultations, there should be what I will call a ceasefire in terms of the kind of verbiage that is used all round on one institution of government or the other, or even principal parties of these institutions. Once that is done, and I can assure you and assure the nation that in the next couple of weeks, maybe a little more, we will have a new level of amity, cohesion, cooperation, and mutual respect between the different arms of government and the party, the executive, the National Assembly, and the party.
First of all, let me thank the chairman and the NWC for coming, and it's a good development because we're all part of one umbrella, that was the party, and whether there are issues or not, regular consultation between the legislative arm of government and the party is important. So from that point of view, that's a positive development. As I said yesterday, listen, some of these issues that we have, I don't believe that more fundamental issues as important to our people, issues of budgets. As I said, despite all the noise you heard last week, we're still passed an amendment to the INEC law that had been there for over 6 years or 7 years that it was not been able to do. By this time next week, our Committee on Petroleum will again, since we've started a democratic process, lay a PIB which has never been done. So my own take is that, listen, the major issues, we are focused on the major issues, and we're not going to be distracted with that, and we're still going to continue to do our work. It's unfortunate, but the most important thing, as the chairman has said, is that a lot of stakeholders must respect these institutions. These institutions are going to be there now, they're going to be there after, and we should not allow our selfish interests to enable us to try and ridicule this. The institution is what we have, and we must ensure that we protect that. But for us in the Senate, we are focused. We will continue to do the work. Today we're talking about meningitis, looking at how we're going to find funding for that. So none of these issues distracting us from our work, and I think we've shown that over the last few weeks.
The Senate President Bukola Saraki and the Chairman of the APC, Chief John Oyegun, after the meeting. I do understand that the meeting, in fact, is continuing because the spokesperson of the APC is supposed to be with us in our Abuja studio, but is unable to make it to the studio there because the meeting is continuing, because he's also part of that meeting, and he joins us now on telephone. Many thanks, Malam Balaji Abdullahi, for coming on the program tonight. Unfortunately, we cannot get you physically in the studio, but what more can you tell us about what happened on the inside that some of these the party leaders did not say on camera?
Well, I mean, there's so much that was said, and there's so much that cannot be for public consumption at this moment. Because when you are trying to manage relationships, you also don't want to begin to reveal, say things that can potentially scuttle the efforts that have been made. But what I can say is that what came across very clearly from the meetings that we have had so far is that, yes, there are genuine grievances, but there are also genuine commitments to get over these issues and focus on those things that will make that concern the people of Nigeria, and will also make our party return to the important issues that will make us look like we are functioning for the people of Nigeria rather than being preoccupied with politicking. So it's clear that all the parties, that everyone is interested in getting over this as quickly as possible. That is one major thing that came across from the meeting.
It does look like when the Senate President and the leadership of the National Assembly meets with the President, the following day, something really, really hurting to some of the policies of the federal government brought to the floor of the Senate, it's been hacked down. And it brings to mind that the undercurrent is really hurting. For example, did the NWC bring up the issue of Senator Ndume, who was a former leader of and the Senate, a possible political solution into the suspension of Senator Ndume?
The issue of Senator Ndume did not come up at all at the meeting. I can say that very clearly. It didn't come up at all. We also try to avoid itemizing, but focus on the general principles. I will also say we need to be careful what issues we drag in and what issues we exclude. To the best, I'm not in a position, for example, to say that the issue that you just mentioned regarding Senator Ndume is part of the overall dynamics of relationship between the Senate and the National and the Executive. I would hesitate to include that as one of the issues, because that is strictly a Senate issue. So I don't think we would be right to be dragging that kind of issues into the relationship constitution that we are concerned that we have between the executive and the legislature. So it didn't come up at all.
Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, spokesperson of the APC, talking to us there. We do hope that we'll be able to get you to talk more on some of these crises and the way forward, as concerns from Nigerians. Perhaps your party was not ready for governance, and some of these issues you may be able to discuss on the program. And that's how far we can go on the program. Many thanks for being part of it. On behalf of the team, I'm Sean Okimale. Bye for now.